in the last days. It's not something to come ahead or something in the future. We're in it. And the discernment it's quick, fast, and to the point. The grace and all of that, the the grace period right now is for all of you guys, as many as possible, to wake up. However, we know what the ending is going to be. There's going to be few who are going to be able to be aware. Now, what that few number is, we don't know. However, we know time is of essence like never before. So, when you take it not from Denzel, but just take it at face value, the things that he said, the motivational speeches, inspirational speeches, his comeback with certain reporters or comments, eye opening, and those everything is true. And what is also true is that he's not walking it, he's talking it, and he is walking it as best as he can perform it. However, it is not an indication that the things he's saying he's actually applying the way he wants you to think or how you think. Because Mr. Washington could say, I never told you that that's what I believe. I never told you that what I'm saying, I want you to believe that I possess that, I have that. I'm just giving you some really good advice. And good advice can come from someone that's not taking it, because the advice is good. The harm is when we believe that the good advice from the person that's saying it means that they're walking it. This is why we have a generation that just don't know who to trust. And that is because the world has created a bipolar, schizophrenic environment where we have allowed people to say things and allow them not to live what they say. We've allowed them to make us believe that they are what they say. And when they reveal that they're not what they say, they still require us to still hold them in that regard. And we actually hold them still in that regard, forgetting that, you know what? No, you did not walk your talk. The talk was good. I'm going to still take the talk, but no, you didn't walk it. Now, that being said, when someone is found guilty of not walking the talk, it is imperative that how we respond is very clear to that person, that you said this is what you are based on what you said. The perception. Again, the person could always say, I didn't tell you that's who I am. However, you did make a perception for us to believe that this is your character. And now when your true character is showing, we have the right to say, hold on a minute. We can call foul on you. And you should not be offended when we call foul on you. However, there seems to be a consistent push that every time someone does not walk the talk that they have made us believe that they live, for us to give grace and then throw in nobody's perfect. We're all imperfect. Okay, so why didn't we state that all these years instead of holding you and you loving the fact that we were holding you on such high regard? This is the thing that to me is always hypocritical and just disgusting. The people that knew and loved the fact that they were being held at a high regard, they used that imagery to pimp you, to make you buy into the things that they're doing. So they were falsifying an image that they knew was a lie. When they get caught, they say, nobody's perfect. Make us feel bad that we were actually holding them in a high regard when they lived a life portraying that they're in that high regard. They did everything possible to keep that image, reinforcing what they want us to believe, that they live in this high regard. And now when they're found guilty that they're not, they are offended and they say that we are too righteous and we're holier than thou for holding them at the high regard. I'm sorry. No, It's not making sense. It will never make sense when you profess and you live a life and you did everything to project an imagery. Don't even for 1 minute think that you can slip through the radar with the nonsense of nobody's perfect. Yeah, we know nobody's perfect. However, you spent the past 20, 30, 40 years of portraying that your talk was your walk. Stop it. So here we go with Mr. Washington. And you're going to hear my full passion. Here we go.
Putting together information and bringing it to us to let us know that Lenny Kravitz and Denzel Washington has a relationship. That's what they've been stating and they've been putting out there for us to consider, for us to look into, for us to connect some dots. Right? So they've put all these allegations out there for us to consider. And all of a sudden, Mr. Denzel is baptized, it's televised, and even the whole situation just looked like a show in the church. It was like, it was a show. I'm telling you. So I found this one. I'm going to record this one. I'm going to give you my feedback after. So here we go. Fair use, fair use. And I'm going to go to the part that she was asking him. So hold on a minute.
I actually kissed a man in the film, but they took it. They cut out. I think they got chicken.
I loved the film.
So I'm gonna,
man in the film, but they took
okay,
it.
hold on. Let me go back. Let me
chicken.
pull it back because I
I
want
was
you.
going to ask because I just heard about the Paul and Pedro forehead kiss that apparently got cut from the movie.
I'm not sure about that one, but I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
What did Denzel say? Full on the lips. But now he's trying to clean it up with an interview saying, I kissed him on the hand. Let's play it back again.
Oh, man. Well,
I killed him about 5 minutes later, but about that one. But I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
Oh, man. Well,
I killed him about 5 minutes later, but
I mean, it's Gladiator.
it's Gladiator. The kiss of death.
And I know we can't say a lot about what goes on in the film, but there is a prop that you use towards the end to kind of wield power over others, and it's kind of disturbing. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to ask, what was your reaction to that, if you can say anything on it, and how you went about that scene?
You got to stay ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm going to pause it there. And he's right. Denzel's always ahead of the game. Denzel knows exactly what's going to be coming down the pipeline. And he's always ahead of the game. He want to go down the way he's about to go down. He thought that we all are okay with it because, especially in Atlanta, where you got same-sex pastors and first men, not first ladies anymore, but you got first men and bishops who are unapologetically having same-sex relationships and finding scripture to justify it. And it's just, you talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, listen, we in it. We in it. Sometimes we say, how was life back then, and the consequences. We in it, and we're living out exactly the cliff America has gone over. Yet still, other countries want to mimic this quote unquote democracy that's in America, the freedom to just go to hell. Of course, you have that free will. My problem is when you take away our free will to prevent our children from going over the cliff and going to hell. You now bring laws and bills into place that ties our hands from raising our children up in the way that we want them to go and grow. And insisting that we bring up our children in the way you want them to go and grow. and it's illegal, and you make it now unlawful for us to open our mouths and dare speak up against you. You're bringing all kind of literature and all kind of curriculum to our children, all kind of books in the libraries and reading time, and you're starting from a young age, because you know a child's mind as young as possible is very palatable. It's very, you're able to mold it. Know that. That's why you're going after the young. So now you're getting the older folks like Denzel to push the narrative. I see your play. Many of us see your agenda. We see you. See, the problem is you want to keep those like myself under wraps. You want to keep us out of your political parties, and you want to keep us out from being seen on social media. We understand what's at play right now. You're trying to do actions now to put those who have left and make them feel that they're in a position that they might want to return back. And then he's also now going to subdue those who have the inclination. There's a kindling in their spirit to leave and be like, hold on, this thing's getting way worse. It's way worse. It's worse, but it's getting way worse. So those with the kindling in the spirit to be like, it's getting hot. It's kindling. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, it's time to go. So Denzel's there to subdue those, to quiet those who are right now in the moment of saying, yeah, it's time to leave. Those who have left, he's definitely out to make you second guess, to make you think that it's not a big deal to come back. Still hold your beliefs, but it's okay to come back. You know, we love you. No, it's okay. You're right, but still come back. And then those who have remained, and they're down for the Sodom and Gomorrah and going nowhere. So Denzel is he is the perfect candidate for all three levels. See, also the Democratic Party, they need to bring the quote unquote black back. They need to bring all of you back. Like listen, this thing is so layered on so many levels. Denzel is the perfect candidate to help the Democratic Party pull y'all back in. Those who've just left, either gone independent or you've gone conservative. Denzel is the perfect candidate to pull you back, because he's going to pull out some scriptures. Oh, he is going to preach you back into the Democratic Party, back into the slavery, the lies, the manipulation. He's going to preach you right back into the shackles, the mental slavery and the spiritual comatose state. He's going to preach you back into it for the politicians, for the Democratic Party. And then for the awakening spiritually, those who've left the church because you've seen that everything they've taught you about Christianity from their perspective and their point of view has been wrong, has been manipulated. It was always about a power struggle. Even in having you get access to spiritual truth, they have curated and controlled how you get access to it and how you digest it and how they present it to you, because it's all about control. It always has been about control. So even when they want you to get access, they decide how you get access, and they control how you're going to interpret and digest that, because it needs to benefit them. Those of us who've passed through that, Denzel's there to pull you back in. Denzel's there to squash this movement of the awareness of being a Hebrew Israelite. Denzel is going to preach you back into being spiritually comatose. He's going to speak out against certain things, but he's going to speak it in a way of love and grace. Listen. We are so in time. This is not what is to come. We're in it right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are in it. We are in prophecy, in the thick of it. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, you're in it. That's all I got to say. You are in it. This is a time where if you are not rejoicing to be alive in such a time as this, for many different reasons, you might be afraid, and you might be afraid, you might be concerned, all these. Get closer to truth and you'll be more at ease. You would not be in fear. They're also going to be throwing another pathogen at you, because 2020 wasn't the beginning of it. Bill Gates and Fauci is still out there, free and enjoying life. And nobody seems to want to hold them accountable. And all of their effects are still there. Melinda, divorced or not, she's tied to all of what has happened and what is continuing to happen behind the scenes. People are upset, and I see Mr. Pierce Morgan, all this righteous indignation against what has happened there with this young man that's being alleged to be the one that ended the life of this pharmaceutical CEO. And I see he had a guest there. Mark Lamont and his other female was there, and another female was there. And you could just see Pierce's agenda. I don't know why Mark Lamont and these guys keep going on these shows. And you know that they're only inviting you because they need a punching bag for the melanated community. You think you're going to be... See, people like Mark Lamont, see, they won't come on our shows because we are just a little bit of views, and we ain't that special. But they keep running over to those ones because the Pierce Morgan, all these big platforms. But you know, they're only calling you there to beat you up. And you allow yourself to beat up because you're in a delusion that, you're going to be there and you're going to be the educated black man, you know, and you're going to show poise and restrain. And you're there and they are beating you. You're a punching bag. You're a spit bucket, but you think you're intellectually a good intellectual spit bucket, a good intellectual punching bag. Because they're only inviting, they need someone to throw it at, and they invite you all over there, and you all run over there because you really think that you're going to show them. Stop going. But there's always going to be one who's going to say yes to it. Because there's always going to be one who's going to say yes to it. However, as I was saying they're coming down after this young man, and one of the female, you could tell she's there, and has all of these word salads to throw out, and things that she's saying is correct, and things that she's saying you could tell is laced with prejudice and racism in there. The thing she said about Black Lives Matter is true. It is true. We all know what they are about, and we all know who formed it. We all know what the agenda is, and it's not for the betterment of our community. However, we just feel like we have to support anything that apparently is supposed to be raising our voice and helping us, and they're not there. They were there to take from you. And instead of calling them out, you're too embarrassed because you're all about them and you don't want to admit that you were duped. So you're going down with the ship and defending them, right? You attacked Candace Owens when she was telling you the truth about them. And it's the thing about our community. What gets us, you know what one of our major issues is? We don't want to admit when we're wrong. We attack those that are telling us the truth about the things that we don't want to hear. And then when they come out to be true and you look like an idiot, you still defend it because you don't want to admit that you were wrong, because that would mean that that person was right, and that would mean all the things you said about that person was wrong. You would have to give that person credit, the person that you hate, the person that you call Uncle Tom, the person that you call all these things. You would have to eat crow, and you don't want to do that. And you see, this is the difference between me and all you all. And this is why I will always be on the outside, and I'm okay. I'm going to stay on the outside, and I'm going to put my name's going to be written down that I was one of many that told y'all. When y'all start to lament and cry and be like, no, remember, you kept us out. You kept us out. We were showing you, we're warning you, because two things can be true. It doesn't have to be an either or. Both things can be true. Black Lives Matter can be a lie. It can be created to take your money. It can be created to make you feel and stir up the truth about things that's happening, but they're not there for your best interest. It can be true that it was created by George Soros as part of the democratic wheel that just keeps you in a state of oppression and angry and want to burn and destroy things. So they're only there to feed the reality of your pain. That could be true. It could be true that it was created to destroy the quote-unquote black family and the community. It could be true. It could be a controlled opposition, well-funded, but because somebody's just lashing out and representing your pain, you're just happy. Somebody's finally saying it, but they're saying it to your own demise. That could be true as well. And what could be true is the things that they are saying about the hurt within the community. That can be true too. All of the patterns of racism and prejudice, that is true too. The systems that are intentionally put in place to keep you always at the bottom, that is true too. Both things about Black Lives Matter can be true, that they are representing the true experience and the true feelings and the truth about the lies and the systematic things that are in place to keep you always feeling you're at the bottom and you need help, and that is true. And it be true that it's intentionally created to keep you there. Both things can be true about Black Lives Matter. So you don't feel this feeling that you have to, like, if you talk negative about Black Lives Matter, that you're denying the truth about what they're saying that is there. No, that's not what we're doing. We're telling you, yeah, all of these things that is representing about your experience, your lived experience, and how you feel is true, and they are there to manipulate those feelings. Why are we not in a place where we could actually just call out the liars that are there to benefit off of your pain and do nothing to change your circumstances? But then people like me, you don't like, because we're telling you and we're acknowledging everything about that is true, and that's not how you go about it. That is not how you're going to go about effective change. You don't like that part. Because deep down, you want something to burn. You want someone to feel the pain. And the belief that it's going to be a vicious cycle, retribution, retaliation, and payback is going to be a vicious cycle. That's not how you do it. Blame and shame is not how you bring through real, sustainable change. You don't like to hear that. So you're going to keep pumping these liars and grifters who are always going to keep you where you say you don't want to be because you're just happy that someone is lashing out. And you're not seeing the vicious cycle that the lashing out is going to perpetuate, and you're always going to be at the short end of the stick. You're always going to be at the bottom. You don't care about that. You care about the instant feeling of burning and destroying now. And you don't care about the repercussions that's not how you fix it. Denzel Washington is going to be able to, pull you all back, put you back to sleep, calm you all down, and give the Democratic Party and the same systems in the Christian religion that has kept you in the state of woe is me, poor is me. He's there to reestablish and keep that going. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a system, even within our skin color, who want themselves to be the ones on top. They want power, just like what he said at the beginning. They don't want equality. Even within the same quote-unquote black community, they love the feeling of them being on the selected few. They like the hierarchyism. They like pyramids. They do not like equality. And the energy is in all skin color. Even those who are so happy Trump is there because, you know, you got your guy back in. You forgot that 2020, Trump was the one that launched the whole, like, the warp speed of this experimental thing. You're quick to forget to forgive Trump and give him grace, but forgot that even after he was aware that this was a trap, it was a setup, when he came down with the illness and he used ivermectin and everything else, he kept quiet. He did not come out and tell everybody that, I'm sorry, what I said was a lie, stop taking it. He didn't come out and support the ones that were being called fringed, the ones that were calling yahoos. Here north of the border, Doug Ford was calling all us yahoos, throwing all names, all manner of name to us. And then later on, he wants us to forgive him. He says, we got it wrong, folks. We got it wrong. He shut down all the playgrounds and all that. We got it wrong because the pushback was coming. See, Doug Ford and many others want us to forgive them, want us to give them grace, but they like to hold grudges. Oh, and I know this personally. I'm gonna do a show on that. They want us to give them grace and forgive and give them the benefit of doubt that, okay, maybe they really didn't know, and his company making money off of all of the labeling during the whole COVID pandemic, and him making a huge Wilford, his business making money, and all these allegations we're hearing about conflict of interest and all of that. He wants us to forgive that, give him grace, but he doesn't want to give it to his opponents, the people that were speaking out against him, the people that was on a mission making sure that our children's best interests are being fought for. See, he don't like those people. He doesn't know how to let go of his grudges against people that were speaking out against him, even though he now he admits that he was wrong. He got it wrong. He asked us to forgive him. Even though he said he's now realizing he was wrong, he still hates those people who was calling him out. So much so he refuses to have them represent their riding as a conservative. He will call riding associations and tell riding associations not to interview any person who lives in the riding, who's been an advocate, who has been showing consistent values and principles that they say align with conservatism. We know that's who we've been. These values and principles about family, living fiscal responsible, we don't hang our hat higher than we could reach it. We know how to stretch a dollar. We know how to make things happen. We know how to do with what we got. That's been one of the many principles of what it is to be a melanated man or woman, descendant from the people of the continent of Africa, descendant of the original peoples of the Americas. That's who we've been. Now you brand it as calling it conservatism. That's who we've been. So those people who are true to that, those people who was pushing back during the 2020 lie, those people that they couldn't call us hesitant because of all of the trials that our people went through, and then later on you'll have Bill Clinton and everybody come out and ask for apology and say, admit that yes, we were using you, yes, we caused harm, yes, we were guinea pigs, and please forgive us. 20, 30 years later, 40 years later, that's been their pattern. So we have all the right to say, no, we don't. We know this gameplay. We've been here, done that. We got the t-shirt. See, they couldn't call us all of the names that they're trying to call everybody: racist, misogynist, anti-science people, and tinfoil hats and all of that. They know they couldn't dare open them out. So they send those in our skin color within our community to now make us calm down. The sellouts who come into the community to calm you down. If you want to keep being a Christian, keep saying you're Christian, and explain to us how you got to where you are in making these decisions, and you saying you're Christian, and the ties between you and Lenny Kravitz, and the ties between you, T.D. Jakes, Puff Daddy being at the parties, like all of these things that's circling around. Address those, Denzel. But no, you run now to be ordained. But I don't blame him. I blame these men who are supposed to be the ones on guard. These are the same one within that will have issues of women becoming ministers. They don't want to ordain women. They tell us where we're not, but they ordain Denzel Washington. Listen, I know women who have some serious discernment, who have been against a lot of the things that you men have allowed to come in. The women who were saying no to your choir director having a same-sex relationship, but you don't care because he's a good singer and he knows to put a choir together that can create an amazing mass choir and have an amazing concert, and the plate is just overfull when they're having concerts because people like to be entertained. You don't want to get rid of your music director or your choir leader. Us women saw this energy of the same-sex Sodom and Gomorrah type of energy coming into our churches, and it's going to the first ladies, and it's going to the wives of the deacons. And we saw that the women were being used to pressure the men to bring it in because your son and your daughter decide to live that life, and then they threaten that if you don't accept them, you're not going to see the grandkids. And now you're pressuring your husband because if you don't accept them, I'm not going to see my grandkids ever again. I'm not. So now you wives go and pressure the head. You pressure the pastor. You pressure your bishop and your deacon to accept your child wayward life because you want to have access to your grandchildren because they use that as the deal breaker. They're going to walk out of your life, and that means you're never going to see the grandchildren again. And you wives pressured your husbands to accept that because you want to go to church and you want to have your grandkids, because when everybody else's grandkids are there, you don't have yours, and that's all because this husband of yours is so biblical. We saw it coming in. Oh, and you can't tell the first lady nothing. You can't tell the bishop or the deacon's wife nothing because she has a reserved seat at the church. You have somebody coming in needing the scripture, needing to hear the word of God, and they sit down. God forbid they sit at a seat that has the sign reserved. Oh boy. My God. Listen. This first lady, who's the second and the third? That's another thing. Where's this whole first lady comes from? Where's that biblically? Because if you're the first lady, are you telling us there's going to be a second and a third coming? I don't know. You let me know. I've always asked that for many years, over 20-something years. I've always asked, where's this whole first lady statement come from? I said the things of the world has been seeping in. The reservations of where certain people sit in church, and how dare someone from the outside just want to hear the word, and the place is full and they see some empty seats at the front, and then you have the ushers that come and tell them, no, you can't sit there. It's for the first lady. It's for this, it's for that person, it's for this person. Like, oh my gosh. I've been at places where I've been asked to speak and I'm sharing truths about my experience, and they'll get up and walk out. I remember I was asked to speak and be the keynote speaker for a breast cancer awareness organization. And as I was there, the next in line daughter got up and she left. And my mom watched them, because my mom, we know our history with them. Their father's the same one that didn't want to baptize anybody's child if they weren't married. And he wasn't going to hold a funeral for your son if your son was not a Christian. You're a member, you're a paying member, and your son or your child died, and he refused to perform the burial because your son wasn't saved. God forbid if, they were living a life to, that was contrary, meaning, they're selling drugs or they're doing whatever it is that they felt that they had to do to make by, because mom didn't have enough, because mom paying tithes and offering, first fruits and pastor's anniversary. And she don't have enough, but she's always making sure she's paying the church because the church guilts her into doing it. When tithing was abolished, oh, you don't want to hear that. Ooh, blasphemy, right, lady? Oh, really? My father and my mother always had that fight. I grew up already hearing this. Many of you who think that this is new to, new news, this is not new. I grew up with this in my home. I was exposed to a father who was showing me truths within the Bible and it wasn't lining up. So him and my mom was always fighting. My father was telling my mom, listen, no. But my mom was one of those wives that she would listen to her friends and the pastor and would see my father as the barrier, the blockage. My mom always chose friends and pastors over my father's words and trying to explain things to her. I grew up with that. I always grew up where my father was always telling my mom that she puts her friends ahead of family and pastor ahead of family. And I've seen it. I've lived it. And trust me, I have front row experience of seeing my mom do that. Of putting strangers ahead of family. No matter how much you do for my mom, a stranger can just swoop in and give her whatever she wants, and you ain't her daughter, you ain't her son, you ain't her nothing. You ain't nothing, actually. She'll actually tell you. So, but mind you, she's there at church, she's there for Bible study, she's there preparing the supper, she's the gloves on, and she's making sure she like very religious. So I saw it both sides. But I also saw the children of pastors, the PKs, and I know of many who've had abortions because, God forbid, they have this child and it ain't, you are PK. That's why pastors' kids, they always had this stigma. High school, college, university. They're the ones that you should keep your eyes on. Ooh, they got some skeletons in their closet. So when their fathers are out there doing sermons against people's children and talking negatively about people's children and their own child doing worse, that house doesn't stand. It might give you the appearance that it's standing for a while, but it falls. Because when you pass your mouth in other people's children and yours is full out even worse, because even those people's children are doing it not to justify, and the truth is they do have a reason. There's nothing at home. They were a single mother, that's a single mother because she's listening to what you guys are saying. And the little money she has, she's still giving the pastor, first fruits, tithes, pastor's anniversary, always some building fund, and there's nothing home. But you tell her the grace is sufficient, God will provide. So the child who's there seeing this, the child got to go out and help. And I don't see the church creating jobs for them, well-paying jobs for them. So you're passing them out to people's children who are trying to do the best that they can to help mom out, to help the little sisters out, to help themselves out. And you're up there creating sermons against people's children. And your children are out there living off of the tithes and the offering and going to the private Christian schools and living lives and having nice houses in Richmond Hill and Bayview and all of this. You guys have properties and churches all over, and your names or your last names are just so synonymous with church royalty. But your children are out there living a cantankerous life, singing in the choir and the pastor's child on a Saturday, Sunday, and a Friday night, but you should catch them on a Saturday in the clubs. You should catch them in the beds of other men. You should catch them in the abortion line. Listen. And the deacons' children, same way. I know enough. So when people tell me, oh, this person goes to this church, and I said, yeah, I know them. Yeah, I know them. I know what they compromise. I know what they condone. I know what they hide. I know. But then you don't know and you think I'm judging. Like, no, I know. All I'm saying is get to have a relationship with Yahweh. Get to pursue truth, real truth, objective truth, not the subjective ones. You're judging. No, I'm giving you sound assessment. And the Holy Scriptures permits me to do that because I'm walking in line with being able to give an assessment, to make a judgment. See, many of you are afraid to open your mouth because you really don't know how you're supposed to make an assessment. Because you haven't assessed to judge your own situation. That's why you can't open your mouth. Because if you actually judge your own situation, you would already call out the BS within you. And within you, you'll call it the BS why you did it. And you call everybody else around you. So then you're easy now to make some assessments and you could smell the BS before it even approaches. And that energy is going to see you and say, you see her? You see him? Don't even try it with that one. Because they see you. Oh yeah, and they're going to talk. Because they are fed up in allowing that energy to come in and sit down and cock up its foot. We're done with it. So the shame and blame that a lot of people are running from, this is why I give so much credit to that French woman who did not allow herself to be anonymous. The one whose husband was found guilty with over 50 other men where he was drugging her and allowing strange men to come in and have intercourse with her. She has sexually transmitted disease as a result of that, but other horrific things, and was videotaping it. And they only found this out because he was out there videotaping underneath women's clothing, and somebody found him out about that. And it's that situation of him walking around with a camera videotaping underneath women, that situation got him in trouble. And when they went to his house thinking they're going to find more tapes about that, is where they found the tapes about what he was doing with his wife. Ooh, that's what I tell you about darkness. That's what I tell you about this energy. Listen, where you see one thing, there's something else happening there. This is why they don't want people like me in their parties or in their groups or in their cliques. Because when I smell one thing, I'm like, okay, hold on. How did we get here? Like, what's been happening? Why this? And then you uncover and you see some other things. Because trust me, a cockroach is not just one, eh? And if you see a cockroach, you might just find a mice, a rat or two. Because you see, disgustingness, it's not isolated. There's always a group. There's always a crowd. There's other things that also like to live in that type of environment. So you might be going to exterminate one thing and you find a whole heap of other things. You find a whole colony. You think that the little bee, the beehive and the issue that you see is just a one thing. So you go, when you start to treat that area, you realize that the thing is in your entire roof. You're like, whoa, yeah. And then it's not even that. You find some other things happening up in your roof. You go in for one situation, you're just like, oh my God, the whole house. That's what happened when you are cleaning house. So darkness don't like even an ounce of light to come in. So it will do everything to prevent you from entering. And then it will set up people to dim the awakening that is growing within. Because men, these men who ordain Denzel, I would look into their personal lives. Oh yeah, I'm going to go there. Men that allow things like this to come in, I'm also now questioning you. I'm questioning you. I'm wondering, what else are you doing or have done That is not a sound decision. And you're saying you're doing it for the people of God. What else has been happening? Which other ministers or members have been lodging some complaints or some allegations and people are just brushing it under the rug or defending the pastor? What else has been happening there that we need to know about? Because you just showed me publicly that your ability to make some decisions is highly questionable. So they say how you do one thing, how you do everything. What everything else has you been doing, sir, that we need to be mindful of? Listen, you want to be put back to sleep with people like Denzel? If anything, what Denzel just did is supposed to alarm or even heighten your awakening and say, whoa, what? For those who had the kindling fire to be like, move, this is your wake-up call to dust the sand off your sandals and get out of Dodge quick, fast. Those who are outside, this is a confirmation you did the right thing. And those who are still stuck inside being loyal to everything cantankerous, I only pray for you. I don't even think this is going to wake you up because you're going to be stirred up because Denzel's now there. I saw all the comments in the Kojig video of Denzel's baptism. I'm reading all the comments. And I made my comment there. You know what? Let me just put it here so I put it all in one video. Before I go there, let me show you the comments. Another person's just like, right? Do you think the defenders? Listen, before I go through the coaching's video, I'm going to show you the latest one where he tried to cover it up and say, oh, he just kissed a man on the hand. I'm going to fast forward it to here, and he said, oh, it wasn't a big deal. It's like kissing his wife like this. Here we go.
I mean, a big deal, really. I mean, I that's about what it was. You know, and I kissed him on the hands. Thank you very much.
Lie. I kissed him on the hands. You all heard the man say, I kissed the man on the lips, and I guess it wasn't ready for it. And then he justified, then I killed him later. It's like the kiss of death. The kiss doesn't have to be on the lips, my dear. The kiss of death could be the kiss on the cheek, could be a kiss on the head. But no, you went to say, oh, he just kissed the man on the hand. I'm going to fast forward it to here, and he said, oh, it wasn't a big deal. It's like kissing his wife like this. Here we go.
I mean, a big deal, really. I mean, I that's about what it was. You know, and I kissed him on the hands. Thank you very much.
Lie. I kissed him on the hands. I don't think it was just a kiss on the lips innocently. However, now he fast forward saying, oh, it wasn't nothing. It was just a kiss like that. Boom, bam. And I kissed him on the hands. So now on top of that, now you're lying. So now it makes him believe that that cut was not no little peck. And a kiss of death, if we remember, and if we're all of us that been watching movies for a minute now, the kiss of death, mafia related, is not no peck on the cheek. No. A kiss of death is a kiss where they hold the person's head, both sides, and they kiss them. You guys seen enough mafia movies to know what the kiss of death is, and even the person who received the kiss of death know that that's a kiss of death. That's why the kiss of death is just well known to the person giving it and the person receiving it. It's not a kiss that you have to wonder. It is a kiss of death. So this is Lady O. Stay in action with faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say.